Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the PeterCast. Hold on, I gotta close the TV for. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, PeterCast. Woohoo! I'm Alex. With me, as usual, is Inu.
Hello there, I am Inazuna, and welcome to another cast.
Inazuna, formerly of Lumby Gaming.
Formerly of a lot of YouTube channels.
A rising star Dylan, of Inazuna, of.
Yeah.
And.
But all that's in the past. This is all I do now.
So we're bringing you another PeterCast. And this week's episode is we're doing a Gen 2 ranking. If you guys haven't seen the Gen 1 ranking we did, check it out.
But feel free to watch this one first. So, just to explain the rules for anyone who hasn't seen the first one, because it's a long video, we're taking the final forms of Pokemon that introduced in Generation 2. If they have an evolution in a later generation, then they will not be in this video. And we are just going to say where we would place them personally, and then we're going to average it out. So if I put a Pokemon in A tier, but Alex is like, oh, I think this is a D tier Pokemon, it'll either be low B or high C.
Yep. All right. So, fun fact for all you guys watching: 0% of our subscriber base is 0% of our viewer base is subscribed. So subscribe, you bitches. Now let's move on. Let's turn the TV on. Boom! There we go. Tier list time. All right, Inu. You started off the last one, so I'll start off this one. Alright, we got Meganium, instantly C tier at best, because it's terrible. It's got screens, but at the same time, if you're going solely off of Gen 2 Pokemon, I can see like 2 right now, and the list right there that do a better job of being a grass type than it, although it is bulky as hell.
Alright, so it's got decent bulk, it sets up the screens, and, you know, Meganium is more of a support mon than a fighting Pokemon. I love its design. The entire Chikorita's line has solid designs. I would put this at low B, so I'm just going to average right back into C tier, so no need to move it.
Typhlosion!
Yeah, alright, Typhlosion. So, my second favorite starter this generation. Typhlosion has a pretty solid design. Also, our criteria are competitive use, personal use, and design, and we might throw in some extra criteria for ourselves. But Typhlosion, I love its design. I have used it fairly decent in Let's Plays and all that. I've never really used it competitively. That's a decent move pool. The only real nostalgia for Typhlosion from something outside of the games would be Pokemon Chronicles with Jimmy, aka Ethan, having a Typhlosion that was voiced by Sean Schemmel. But if we're talking about the games, though, ever since we moved to the 3D models, Typhlosion just hasn't looked as good because it doesn't have the constant flames like its sprite. So I would say low B, high C. So let's just put it in B for now.
Typhlosion is my go-to starter in every Johto game. Also, its Hisuian form's pretty baller, so, you know, competitive usage has got the exact same fucking stats as Charizard, without that 4 times weakness to rock, but doesn't get the same kind of coverage. So, we'll leave it in B tier.
All right.
Based off competitive usage alone, I have to put this in A tier because it gets Dragon Dance and it could sweep you very easily. I personally, design-wise, it's got a thick ass in the sprite games. That's with that. I don't really like it, so.
All right. So this is my go-to Johto starter. I love the Totodile line. Feraligatr gets a decent move pool, and yeah, it's got Dragon Dance. It's got all sorts of type coverage with things like Crunch and Ice Fang. I would personally put it in A tier. So hey, look, it's already where it needs to be.
Ferret.
Right, Furret. So
It's a long boy.
personal use, I've used this quite a bit in the original Gold and Silver. Design wise, I think Furret is absolutely adorable. I just want to hug the little fucker.
It's a no.
Competitive
Inu,
use-
Inu. It's 5'11".
I can still hug it.
Yeah, but it's not it's as tall as us.
Yeah, well, I mean, it might be lengthwise. We don't know if it's counting the length of the tail on that 5'11".
Probably, but it's not a little fucker.
Yeah, fair. But competitively, it doesn't really have a lot of competitive viability from what I've seen. I don't even know what moves this thing really gets, but based on the nostalgia of catching a Sentret and evolving it as a child, and also just the design, I'm going to give him a solid low B.
Yeah, it's good there. I don't really like the mon. I think it is cute. It's a long boy, and I mean, we said pretty much everything that has to say about it. It's an early route mon. It's a mon you catch, you keep on your team until something better comes along. Noctowl. I will give it points. I put both Pidgeot and Vero in D tier in the last one because being early route birds. I will give this one. I'll put this one in top C because it does get access to a few psychic type moves, I think, or just one. But even just one psychic type move is more coverage than Pidgeot had. Its shiny is pretty great. I like the Ash caught a shiny one. Aside from that, I feel like its design is decent. Competitive usage is meh, but it is an early route bird. You know?
Yeah. So yeah, it's an early route bird. Its move pool isn't exactly the best. It has a gorgeous shiny, and I used to have a shiny one that a friend gave me that I actually forgot to transfer over before resetting my Pokemon Black one time, and I have hated myself ever since. But I love Noctowl. I would personally put it above Furret, but if we're averaging things out, it's probably just going to stay where it is.
I mean, I put it here.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, Ladian. Okay,
Let me do it for you. There you go.
Okay, so I actually liked Ladian. I know that it's not the best with its move pool and it doesn't have the best of stats, but its design is so solid. And if this had been bug fighting instead of bug flying, I bet you it would be so much better than it is. But I just got to put it right below Meganium, and then Alex is going to put it low D, so it's probably not going to move.
The mon's fucking shit. The only thing it's got going for it is that it's an anagram of Daniel. Alright.
Yeah.
Ariados, S tier. Let's move on. No. I love it, and I would definitely put it in S tier, but I'm going to put it in B tier because its stats aren't that great. Smooth pool is not that quite that diverse, but for an early route bug, it's phenomenal.
All right, so bug poison, so same typing as our good boy Beedrill. If you ask
And
me, it has
Venomoth.
a much better design than Beedrill. I remember spending time hunting Spinarak and evolving into this in the original Gold and Silver. And, it's definitely been one of my favorite Pokemon ever since. Yeah, its stats are very abysmal with only a base stat total of 390. But, I mean, it is an early route bug Pokemon. It's got a decent attack stat with base 90, but with that base 40 speed, it's not doing anything. It does get access to Sticky Web, which I guess is all right, and it has decent move coverage. You got things like Poison Jab and Sucker Punch. It gets Nightshade. But aside from a few good moves, it's just really not doing anything. I do love its pink shiny, though, and that is going to give it some bonus points. So I would probably put it. Actually, you know what? It's just going to stay where it is. That's a fair place to put it.
I like how you named like the worst ghost type move.
Well, I mean, Nightshade's not bad because it's set damage.
It's not set damage, it's your HP. Or your level, sorry.
Yeah, but I mean that's still set damage. And yeah, it's got Shadow Sneak. I didn't see that before when I was looking at its moves.
Crobat.
Oh yeah, I'm starting this one. All right, Crobat. Solid design. Great step up from Golbat. It has very good competitive use. It's got a pink shiny, which is a bonus for me. Honestly, like, yeah, it's got Roost, it's got U-turn, it has access to defog, it hits hard, it's got decent moves. I think I'd put it in S tier. I like using this Pokemon. It being a friendship evolution is kind of a downside, especially one time when me and Alex were doing content together, and I had a max friendship Golbat that just would not evolve. But I had the chance to hack it into a Crobat. I was like, no, this fucker wants to stay a Golbat. Fine, you're staying a Golbat.
And then it died.
And then it died.
But yeah. I'm gonna leave it in S tier. You pretty much said everything. You said everything that needs to be said about this Mon. So not really gonna elaborate on it. Lantern. Lantern I feel is a solid B. I'd say like mid B. No, mid B would be here. It's because it's got great typing, got great abilities. Its stats are kind of lackluster, and its shiny is kind of doo-doo caca. But, it's a solid Mon to have on your team if you don't already have a water type. Chinchou's adorable. Lantern will put in work in gameplay meta. In competitive, it's kind of like a guessing game because you don't know if it has Volt Absorb or Water Absorb. So
I mean, most of the time it's probably going to have Volt Absorb since, Electric's neutral on it.
But still, it's still a guessing game. You can't be sure unless you hit it with a move. So for that reason, I'm gonna, mid B is a good place for it.
Yeah. So I would probably put it right below Feraligatr. This is one of my favorite Gen 2 Pokemon. I love its design. Its typing is very good. It's got decent bulk with a base 125 HP, but its defenses aren't really the best. With the typing, though, it does have some decent weaknesses to grass and ground, which are quite, they're common types and all that. Unlike Alex, I do love its shiny form. And it's got access to Heal Bell. It's got Volt Switch. I think it's a fairly decent Pokemon, so yeah, I'd put it like low A. So it's going to average out to like a high mid B.
Xatu. You, Inu.
Oh yeah, Xatu. Yeah. I don't know why I'm messing up the order so bad right now, but Xatu. Okay, so the Psychic Flying typing is great. Magic Bounce is such a fun ability. And honestly, Xatu is one of my favorite design Pokemon from Gen 2. It's always been one of my favorite Gen 2 Pokemon. I really gotta say, like, yeah, like right there, like right below Feraligatr. That's where I would put it. I love its design. I love its typing. Its move pool is fairly decent. This is something I wish would have got an evolution or a mega, though.
I will say, the only thing I don't like about this Pokemon is its design, and for that reason, I'm going to move it down to here. Or at least, it would be like here. But it can't be there because there's nothing in between. So we'll just keep it there, but that's low A. Ampharos. Ampharos is mid A, for sure. 100%. It was implicated in the story. It got a nice fucking mega that gave the dragon type. And sick ass flow. That's it. You know, it's pretty good. It was used a lot, so
Yeah. Yeah, I'm probably going to leave it there as well. It's got a decent move pool. Like Alex said, it was implemented into the story of Gold and Silver, and it's one of my favorite electric type Pokemon to use in Johto. I mean, it's not like we have a lot of options to have in Johto anyway, but my biggest flaw for Ampharos is its design because it kind of loses a lot of its sheepiness that Mareep and Flaffy have. However, the Mega brings back some of that sheepiness, and that just makes me love it. It's an adorable Pokemon.
it's the only non-electric fully evolved Pokemon that's not 11. Actually, it's the only electric Pokemon that was added into the game that's not a legendary or a baby Pokemon. Because the only electric Pokemon that were added in Gen 2 were Pichu, Elekid, the Ampharos line, and Raikou.
And the Lantern line.
And the Lantern line.
All right, so moving on, we got Bellossom, which I prefer Bellossom over Vileplume. I know
Yeah,
that a
because
lot
you
of people
got
probably wouldn't
shit
agree with
taste in
that.
Pokemon.
But I mean, it's got Quiver Dance, it's got Moonblast, it's got Petal Dance.
I'll quiver your dance.
I love the design of it. However, do not really put it too high on the list because, like, I haven't really used it as much as I would like to. Mostly because I just forgot to use I forgot to do the bug catching contest and get the Sunstone to evolve it. I would put it between Lantern and Typhlosion, personally.
Well, it's not gonna stay there for long. I'd put this in D tier. It ruins the entire Oddish line that I'd rather block it out of my memory completely. Compared to Vileplume, this thing is shit, so I'm just gonna put it in D tier, so it end up in C tier.
That's a fair placing.
Azumarill. Azumarill. I had to put it up here. It's got Belly Drum. It's got Huge Power. It's got Aqua Jet. It's got Sap Sipper too as an ability, which, you know, if you don't, everyone's gonna expect you to have Huge Power. So if you have Sap Sipper, you can make people go like, what? You know, I know its stats are fucking subpar as hell, but it is kind of bulky. It's got the fairy type, so, you know, I'd say high A tier is a pretty good place.
Yeah, everything Alex said, I can agree with. I love my little bubble bunny. I would probably put it right about where it is right now, honestly.
Baby bunny. Papa DB.
Yeah, again, its stats are pretty abysmal. So it's only got base 50 speed. It's got 80 in both defenses, 50 in both attack stats, 100 HP. Although, ever since Generation 6, it's, one of its stats its special attack went from 50 to 60, which I don't know why they put it in the special attack category. Should have been a boost to its physical attack, but whatever.
I mean, it still gets Huge Power, so who cares?
Yeah. But its Huge Power could have been so much better.
Chuluwudo.
Alright, Sudowoodo. I love Sudowoodo's whole gimmick of being a rock that looks like a tree. It's fairly powerful, fairly bulky. But honestly, the best thing about Sudowoodo for me is its pre-evolution of Bonsly, so I would put it high C.
You know, I'm going to say Sudowoodo has low speed, it's got decent defenses, it's got a good attack stat. And then in Scarlet and Violet, we can finally make it a grass type. You know, it's not a Pokemon that I fucking love, but you know, I'd rather see it in the B tier than the C tier, honestly. So I'm gonna give it a high B rating just so it ends up where it is.
Fair enough.
Politoed. Politoed, Politoed, Politoed. Politoed, Politoed, Politoed. Uh, I'm gonna give this a mid B. Cause his stats are all right. Its move pool is all right. It's really only there as like one of the primo drizzle setters. Um, and as I said before, like I like Poliwrath more, but just based off the fact that it's got drizzle, uh, I'll rank it higher than I did Poliwrath, so I'll go mid A.
Yeah, mid A is about where I would put it. Uh, Everything said about it, I agree with. I love its design. It's got a fairly decent shiny. Although I will say, because of Poliwrath being water fighting, I kind of wish Politoed had a dual typing. I honestly would not have minded if this had gotten the fairy treatment, but I I feel like it should be dual type. I just don't know what its secondary typing should be, honestly. I don't see it being a psychic type, but I don't know what else would really fit.
It is a Froggo, like poison type.
Yeah, I mean, water poison wouldn't have been bad for it. All right. Jumpluff.
Fuck you, V-Rage.
All right, so I actually adore Jumpluff's design, and it has fairly decent stats if I remember correctly. It has a great shiny, and the only real bad thing is the 4x weakness to ice, and I think the only real viable thing to do with this is acrobatics, but I mean, it's got base 110 speed, base 55 attack, and it does have some powder moves. Unfortunately, I do think that its middle form Skiploom is a better design, so I'd probably put it between Furred and Noctowl.
Alright. Well, I'm gonna put it there. I'm gonna leave it there. Because it does have some competitive viability, not much, but some competitive viability. But it's Hoppip and Skiploom are such terrible designs that it brings Skiploom down way too much. So I'm just gonna leave it there. Sunflora D tier. Let's move on. It's terrible.
Okay, so I actually love Sunflora's design. Use-wise, yeah, it's not really a very good Pokemon. I would probably put it low C tier just because of the design and also the nostalgia of finding a Sunkern and then spending hours doing the bug catching contest because I didn't understand the rules as a little kid that the more HP the Pokemon has, the better the stat would be. I thought it was just like, oh, this is a level 12 Pokemon. That'll get me the win instantly, not realizing that putting it down in the red would make it so that I got a lesser score.
You know what? I'm gonna bump it up here, just because of that time where Mr. Inazuma himself, the man, the myth, the legend, had a team of Primal Groudon, Primal Kyogre, and Mega Rayquaza, and he lost to a Sunkern.
It was random triple battle Haxmons. They didn't have their actual stats or move pools.
You still lost to a Sunkern. Alright.
I wish I still had that video.
Quagsire.
Alright, Quagsire. This is a goofy boy. He is a good goofy boy. He has a great typing. He has good moves, and the unaware ability is really great. I love using him. He's fun in competitive battles, or at least singles. I would put him... I'd put him between a Azumarill and Politoed.
I'll put him there because I hate him. I hate battling against him, which is a good sign because it means he's good competitively. So, let's move on. Espeon. I know you're gonna rate it like S tier because you think it's good, but I'll rate it C tier because honestly, like top of C tier. Because honestly, like out of all the evolutions, I feel like it's the one that's lacking because it's just like a psychic type, and there's so many other psychic types in the game that like I could use a better psychic type, you know. Plus, it's a friendship evolution, and it's like Why would I want? I could just evolve my Eevee with the stone. So
Yeah.
why would I want to have to keep an Eevee, raise its friendship?
So I would put it at top of A. I would like to put it in S, but I just do not like the shade of green they chose for its shiny. I feel like it should have had like a Scion shiny instead. But I love the design. It's my favorite evolution, and it's got decent move pool, and Magic Bounce is a really good ability for competitive use. And I just have had a lot of fun using Espeons in playthroughs and all that. And its stats are fairly decent. All right, moving on. Umbreon. I'm going to put this at high C. I just honestly find Umbreon to have the worst design of the evolutions. Uh, its shiny is its most, you
Yeah.
know, its
Or-
best quality is it's shiny with the blue instead of the yellow for the rings.
Worst design, best shiny.
Honestly, I think it still has its red eyes in its shiny. I wish the eyes were blue in the shiny to match the rings. And it it's decent and competitive because of its bulk, but I just really hate how the only move sets that you ever see with this is toxic, wish, protect, foul play, protect.
Hmm.
Like it's just an annoying Pokemon and not in the good way.
Yeah, I honestly I'll bring it down to like mid C, above some Flora, just cause I hate it. Looks like shit. Slowking.
Yeah.
Slowking is like the it's a special Slowbro.
Yeah,
We put
everything
Slowbro in.
does it does this specially.
Yeah, so we put Slowbro in B tier, so it wouldn't be fair to put Slowking in anything else because
Yeah,
it does the same job as Slowbro, just specially.
Yeah, it's the same thing with here's some bulk, and now I'm going to swap out with my regenerator. It doesn't have the same tactics with its Galarian form as Galarian Slowbro, if I remember correctly, but I've never used either Galarian forms. I don't know what they're all about. I do like its shiny where it has a blue collar instead of a red collar, and it's kind of a darker pink.
No, that's a bad shiny. Anytime you replace red on a Pokemon, it's bad.
So yeah, I would probably put it where it is.
Unknown.
Unknown. Okay, so Unknown has all this really cool lore in the games. It's connected to Arceus. It's got all this cool stuff in the anime. When the Unknowns get together, they create unstoppable reality-bending psychic powers. Unknown in the game.
S
It is an
tier.
early route Pokemon that only has one move, and it is just. I'm sorry, but Unknown.
S tier.
I have to give it the lowest C, and the only reason why I'm not putting this in D tier is because hidden power changes depending on your IVs and all that. And also, I love the gimmick of one for every letter of the alphabet plus 2 different punctuation marks.
S tier. The best Pokemon in the game.
Well, we got to average this out. So I'm saying low C, you're saying S. Okay.
Wobbuffet.
If it wasn't for its bulbous eye, I would not even see it on the chart right now.
Yeah. But the best thing about Wobbuffet is the nickname I give it, Dick Cheese. So I'll put it in high C.
So Wobbuffet has one job, and that is to shadow tag something and to either mirror code or counter it, or if they go for a setup move, to encore them into the move.
Destiny
Which-
bot.
And then Destiny Bond, yes. But the thing is, thanks to Dynamax, even if you go for the encore, oh, now they can attack you and they don't have to worry about the encore and all that. And the only Wobbuffet's a decently bulky Pokemon, but again, it's one of those Pokemon that's annoying, but in the wrong way. I'm fine leaving it where it is.
It's a lock killer, and that's pretty much all it is.
Fortress. Okay, first off, Bug Steel. I love the typing. it's a very good Pokemon for setting up hazards. It gets rapid spin to get rid of the hazards your opponent has set up. Only one weakness, and if worse comes to worse, you can always use self destruct to get it out of there. I am going to. I'm going to say right below Typhlosion is where I would put it.
Okay. Well, I have used this thing extensively. And honestly, as far as, hazard setters and stuff like that go, it's one of like the cream of the crop. So I would put it S tier, so it'll end up a mid A tier. It also looks like it's wearing glasses because of the black bars. Black bars and the black around its eyes, wearing glasses.
I can see it.
Alright, Steelix. I'm gonna go bottom of A because Onix was a fucking failure of a Pokemon. Steelix is bulkier. He hits harder. He's got that steel type. He's got that ground type. He's got that Mega Evolution too, with the crystals coming out of it. He's also got that episode where he bedoofs. So I'm gonna put it bottom of S tier.
Steelix is very good Pokemon when it comes to physical bulk. It's got a decent attack stat of 85, which is a lot better than the abysmal attack stat Onix had of like 10.
45. But it does get Dragon Dance.
Yes, it gets Dragon Dance now, which honestly I was not it's still a super slow Pokemon, so the Dragon Dance isn't going to help with the speed, but it will help with its power. And this Pokemon is the definition of a physical tank. And I like the gold coloring of its shiny a lot. So I love that it's a Pokemon that was introduced in gold and silver, and it's got gold and silver as its two colors. I would probably throw this mid B personally. So with low A and then mid B, so if we average that together, I guess it would be like kind of around Slowking and Lantern.
Granbull.
Granbull. Okay. I love Granbull's design. Honestly, at first I did not like this as a fairy type Pokemon, but the more that I thought about it, the more I ended up liking the change. I'm kind of glad they made it pure fairy and didn't make it normal fairy. It's got all right moves. Intimidate's a great ability. I do have a lot of nostalgia with using this Pokemon as a kid. I would probably put it right behind Typhlosion. Its stats aren't really the best, and I don't think it has the most diverse move pool, but design-wise and just personal use and enjoyment, it averages it out.
If I'm being honest, this is a Pokemon that I just think is fucking useless as hell, so I'll put him at the bottom of D tier. It's, it was normal to before, which didn't do anything for it. Still wasn't used. It got the fairy type, it still didn't do anything for it. Still's not used. It doesn't have very much coverage. It's got, kind of mid stats. I'd say it's a bottom of B tier at best.
Yeah.
It's
120 attack stat is pretty good, but that's like its only thing it's got going for it.
It's the type of mon that you use based off of nostalgia only. You're playing through a game for like the fourth time, and then you're like, all right, Snubble's in this game. I'll use Snubble, and then you use Snubble, and then it evolves into a Granbull, and then that's the only reason why you use it. You wouldn't be like, all right, I'm building a competitive team. oh, right. I'll put the wrong Grand Bull. That thing's awesome. Like, no.
All right, so it's got base 450 stats, which again they've evolved things with higher or similar stats. Grand Bull should get an evolution.
Eh. All right. So Scizor is a special case, right? Because Scizor, with its Mega, would have been like top of A tier. However, what brings it down is that Scyther's got a new evolution in town. So now I happen to like Kleavor better than Scizor, so I'm gonna put Scizor at the bottom of A, just because its Mega was pretty good. It's got Technician. It's only got one weakness, which is a 4 times weakness to fire. But all in all, great Mon. So I'm gonna put it bottom of A.
That's about where I would put it. Scizor's got a solid design. I do like Kleavor a bit more, and I like that Scizor is just a flip of Scyther, where Scyther is frail, but it hits hard and hits fast, but Scizor is kind of slower and doesn't hit as hard, but it's got a lot of bulk. The one weakness is very useful there. It had low A, high B is like a great place for Scizor. I don't even remember what ability its Mega got, but
Technician.
Oh well, I mean regular Scizor gets Technician if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but its Mega also got Technician.
Yeah, so Scizor it's a decent Pokemon. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. Okay, it's got more attack stat than I thought it did, but still, it's it's slow and it's bulky, and it does what it needs to do.
We got
All right, Shuckle. Okay, so Shuckle, it's bulky. It's there to set up rocks and sticky webs, and you could try doing Power Trick and Trick Room with it. Those are, Shuckle has some uses. It's actually got a bit of it's a solid design in my opinion. But my favorite thing about Shuckle is the fact that you can let it hold a berry in gold, silver, and crystal, and then as you walk around, it'll make berry juice, and on rare occasions, it'll make a rare candy. I don't know if that's a gimmick that's been carried over to the later games, but I would give it a solid top of C.
All right. Well, I'm gonna move it to the bottom of C because based on competitive uselessness, it's terrible. All it does is stay there and not die. You can't really do anything with it. It's got abysmal attack. It's got abysmal speed. It's got just really good defenses. And yeah, you can set up stuff with it, but there's so many other mons that you could actually do damage with after setting up. Like just another bug rock type comes to mind is Crustle. You could Shell Smash and sweep. This you can't even do that. Even if it got Shell Smash, you wouldn't be able to sweep shit because its attack stat is so fucking low. But yeah, bottom of C. I would rank it D. That's why I'm putting it bottom of C.
Yeah.
Heracross! Heracross is S tier for sure, 100%. Yeah, it's got a 4 times weakness to flying, but it's got great stats. It's got its Mega had Skill Link, I believe. Yep. I like the gender differences too, where the female has like an upside down heart or some shit, or it's a heart. But yeah, no, Heracross is one of the best Pokemon ever invented from Gen 2, and it totally deserves to be an S tier.
The bug fighting type combination, it's really great. It's got a solid design. It's got a great move pool. Guts is a great ability. Its Mega was very good with Skill Link. It's my favorite bug type Pokemon, so I agree with S tier. All right.
Yo, wait.
Cargo.
Where my cargo?
All right. So it can do Shell Smash, and the Fire Rock typing. It's kind of a hindrance with how slow it is because it's got the 4 times weakness to both ground and water. Its its physical defense is pretty good. Macargo, its name brings us one of our favorite memes of "Where My Car Go," where I don't remember what YouTuber it was, but I remember someone going "My car go fast," and just think that was the funniest thing. But I can't remember who that was. I don't really watch Pokemon stuff on YouTube very often anymore. But I I'd give it a solid. I'd give it a solid Furret.
What?
I'd put it like right where Furret is.
Okay. Well, this mon's great. Its hindrance is being weak to Earthquake, which is like one of the most common moves used in competitive. Then you've got it's also weak, 4 times weak to water, which is also really common because it's just the most common type of Pokemon there is water. So odds are you're gonna be fighting a water Pokemon. So yeah, that brings it down. So I'll just leave it mid B. Corsola, Galarian Corsola is great. Regular Corsola is like a mid C. Actually, above Umbreon.
Yeah. So I love Corsola's design. Uh, Water Rock is a decently defensive typing as long as you're not fighting any grass type Pokemon. Its stats are pretty abysmal. Galarian, Corsola, and Cursola, those help boost this up, but Cursola has nothing to do with Corsola, sadly. This Corsola should have an evolution. It's shiny going from the light pink to the cotton candy blue is a very nice touch that I really love. And Misty's Corsola was very fun in the anime, so I think it's where it needs to be.
Octillery.
Octillery. Okay, I love this Pokemon. I love the whole gimmick of it being a gunfish that turns into a tank octopus. Its design is kind of goofy, but in a good way. I love it. It makes me think of the little hot dog octopuses that Japanese people will make for their bento boxes. Moody is it's an ability.
Yeah, it is an ability. It's true. It is an ability.
Yeah. And honestly, Octillery gets some really good coverage. You got Fire Blast, Hydro Pump. Pretty sure he gets Energy Ball. It gets Ice Beam. I would honestly aside from the times when you really need Moody to give you a certain stat boost, and instead it reduces that stat. I would want to put this in A tier, but honestly, where you have it on the list right now is probably where I would put it.
See, I put it there because it's got great coverage. It's got good abilities, and Moody, and also Sniper. Sniper's kind of great too.
What about suction cups?
No, but it's got low-ish defense, low-ish HP. Its attack stats are pretty great, but its speed really kills it. Yeah, there's a lot of mons. Speed. There's a lot of mons that do the exact same thing. Like just the mon that right ahead of it does its job kind of better than it does. So
I'm not a fan of its mustardy shiny.
I'm not a fan of your mustardy shiny, Inu.
Fair enough.
Okay, Delibird. Let's put him in D tier. He's not really great. His signature move is Present. Has a chance to heal your opponent, which Inu knows everything about that.
A 30% chance to heal your opponent.
And, it's just not good. It's really bad. Its most notable thing is being a mascot to Shady Penguin. So...
Alright, so Delibird. I love its design. I like the shiny where it goes from red to blue. I know that's negative points on your opinion. It gets some decent moves. Freeze Dry is alright. It gets Rapid Spin. Pretty sure it can set up spikes. But I would put this low B just for the fact that I love the Delibird minigame in Pokemon Stadium 2.
All right.
Yeah, that works out fine.
Mantine.
All right, Mantine. Okay, first off, I love Mantine's design. It is just a very fun Pokemon to look at. It actually gets decent moves. The water flying typing is not terrible. It makes it so that grass is neutral, but you got that 4 times weakness to electric in return. It gets fairly decent moves with it gets Roost, it gets Toxic, it has Hurricane, Scald. The only downside is that when they gave it a pre-evolution, the pre-evolution requires you to have another Pokemon in your party. So like during randomizers or Nuzlocks, you might not be able to evolve that Mantike, which is a little bit of a down play. So I want to give this a high B, but thanks to Mantike, I'm going to put it as a low B. I'd put it right between Sudowoodo and Granbull.
Sudowoodo and Granbull.
I'd put it right between those two.
Mantine.
You bitch. You want me to put it between Stephanie and what?
Yeah, that's where I would put it right there.
All right, Mantine's pretty great. It's pretty bulky. You cannot take it out with one hit with Thunderbolt. So I'd say just thanks to its bulk, I'd rank it like here. So it'd be like mid of the pack. There we go.
Yep.
Skarmory. Skarmory won me or versus. So above S tier. No. Honestly, it's bulky, but it's pretty much it. Like you can set up stuff, but I'd put it like mid B. Pretty mid Pokemon.
Yeah, I'd probably put it about right there. All right, Houndoom. Okay, first off, the Fire Dark typing really fits this Pokemon so well. Solid design. It had a very mid to low tier Mega. It gets decent moves, but its stats aren't really that great. And the fact that it's a Johto Pokemon you can only get in the post game really drops it down. So I'd put it right above Wobbuffet.
Yeah, honestly, same. I love it, but the fact that that was the stupidest idea by Game Freak to put a new Pokemon introduced in that generation in Kanto, and only in Kanto.
I kind of understand them doing with Larvitar, making that a post game Pokemon. Because you gotta get to Mount Silver to catch the pseudo legendary, but
I mean, it's not a post game. You could get to Mount Silver before the league. Can't you?
No, you can only go to Mount Silver once you get all the Kanto badges.
That's even more stupid. All right, Kingdra. I'd say top of B just because its usefulness. It's got 95 base stats all across the board. It's got Swift Swim. It's a Dragon type. It has a lot of coverage. I fucking hate it. Its design is stupid. Seeking's a lot better. Seejo's a lot better. And yeah, top of B.
Yeah, honestly, I'd put it right there for all the same reasons. It's got good coverage and all that, but the design just pulls it down.
Stupid.
This is honestly one of my favorite Johto Pokemon, one of my favorite Pokemon in all Pokemon. It's got decent stats, decent move pool. Its design is probably one of my favorite things about it. I would put it right above Scizor.
All right, I'll leave it there. It's good, and you're gonna be happy with what comes next for Donphan, according to the leaks. But yeah, it's pretty good. Phanpy's fucking adorable. So, Smeargle. Its gimmick is it can learn every move because of sketch, but its stats are abysmal, and it just the way that unless you hack it, the way you do get the moves on it is kind of tedious as fuck. So, top of D tier. Not as bad as Ledian. I wanted Ledian to be by itself in D tier, but Smeargle.
Well, I mean, it might move up to the bottom of C because I'd put it at mid C. I like the gimmick. I like the design. It gets Moody, which is an all right ability, and you can set it up to really work well with Moody if you put in the time or if you just hack in the right moveset. I will say I do wish that Smeargle had multiple forms, kind of like they did with Minior, but just different paint colors on the tip of its tail. And I hate how it used to have a red tail in the original games, and then that became its shiny color because I think that in Generation 2, the shiny version was the green tip tail, and I don't know why they swapped the palettes there.
Hitmontop! You knew?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. Honestly, if you ask me, Hitmontop is probably the best of the Hitmons. It gets decent moves, it has decent abilities and decent stats because it's kind of middle around the board. We gave Hitmonlee high B and we gave high C to Hitmonchan, so
No, we gave Hitmonlee low A and high B to Hitmonchan.
Oh, all right.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hitmonchan is high B and Hitmonlee is low A.
All right. So yeah, I'd put like Hitmontop like right above Donphan, just to be fair with the placings of the other Hitmons. And again, I think this is the best Hitmon.
I'm gonna place it there because this would be a high B for me because it's not the best, but it can remove hazards and it does have like a unique. A lot of fighting Pokemon is like, punch or kick. This one's spin. So,
yeah.
Miltank, I'm gonna put it mid A. Mostly because this is the one mon that everybody in their fucking life has had trouble with during the Whitney Gym battle. Also, it's got titties, so
Yeah.
That's not reason why. It's just I'm just pointing it out for those of you who like that stuff. It's also kind of bulky. It's got decent stats, so it's not that bad of a Pokemon to use competitively. It's got Milk Drink, so you can heal your other mons too, even though you do take its HP away. But even if it was just for that, it could still find some use. So.
Yeah, I mean, like it's got decent stats. It's got recovery.
No wait, that's a field move. Milk Drink just heals it in battle. Never mind.
Yeah.
It does have recovery though, so it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's got recovery.
But it drinks its own milk.
Yeah. Honestly, mid A is a pretty good spot for this Pokemon. It's got a cute design. It's got decent moves, decent stats all around. All right, Blissey. Honestly, like it's an all right Pokemon. It's able to set up screens and all that. It's especially bulky. It's got recovery and annoying stuff. I'd put it below Granbull, honestly. Like it's not super great, but it's not super bad.
It's a great special wall, but aside from that, it's not that great. But yeah, bottom of B is fine. Now we're gonna give this mon the fucking respect it deserves, Inu. You're gonna pay for crit scald burning my Raikou like 3 years ago.
The bird doesn't even matter. It's a special attacker.
It matters because of chip damage, Inu. You killed me in one turn because of that chip damage.
So you're throwing Raikou in S tier?
No, I'm not. Raikou is kind of decent. It's better than Ampharos, so if we put Ampharos in A tier, we gotta put it in A tier too. Honestly, I'd be tempted just to put it right in front of Ampharos.
Yeah, I honestly would put it either S tier or high A tier. I love this Pokemon's design. I have a lot of nostalgia with it. It's my favorite of the legendary beast. You know, decent. It's got a decent play where you can set up a substitute and then set up Calm Minds behind it. It's got access to things like Thunderbolt, Aura Sphere, Scald.
I made
It's
you a
overall a
sick
decent
ass.
Pokemon.
I made you a few sick ass logos for your Raikou team.
Yeah, I've used Raikou as a mascot for draft leagues before.
Made him some sick ass logos.
But I just love Raikou. He's an amazing Pokemon. All right, Entei. Yeah, Entei's pretty good. It's got access to Flash Fire. It's got decent moves, decent attack stat. It's honestly my least favorite of the legendary beast, but it's still an overall good Pokemon. I would put it right below Quagsire.
Alright, I'd put it low A just because it's kind of underwhelming because it can't learn Earthquake. And you got like a volcano Pokemon, which earthquakes are usually associated with volcanic eruptions. Its stats are pretty good. It's got pretty good moves. It's got pretty good move coverage, except learning fucking Earthquake. So I'd put it low A, maybe high B at least, at the very least. But yeah, so low A would be pretty good. Suicune. I honestly I put it high B. It's really bulky. It's annoying to battle, but like, Go caught it in the anime. Like, it's a legendary Pokemon. Why is some random dude just catching it?
Yeah. Also, just rewinding it. You were talking about doing justice for Raikou. I'm still mad that Raikou's the only one of them to not get its own movie. Yes, it got the special in Pokemon Chronicles, but one, not many people watched Pokemon Chronicles because it was a spin-off series, and two, it was captured by two Team Rocket members and had to be saved. At least Entei was the antagonist of its movie, and Suicune had a great supporting role. But yeah, no, high B is good for Suicune.
Inu is apparently the Oscars panel now.
But yeah, no, Suicune, top of B is pretty good. Calm Mind, Rest, Sleep, Talk type sets. I've seen people run those a lot. It's got good bulk. It's got good special attack. It's my second favorite design to the Legendary Beast, and my second favorite of the Legendary Beast, but Entei is just overall better when it comes to battling.
Also, they're cats. Stop calling them legendary dogs, people.
Yeah, that's because of the dubism where they were called the legendary dogs when they first came to America. But no, they're not dogs. Entei, you could question it being a dog, but it's obviously a lion. But the other two, I don't know why we ever thought they were dogs.
No, they're clearly all felines.
Yeah, lion, jaguar, and tiger.
Tyranitar. Oh, you're the one speaking first, I believe.
Okay, so Tyranitar. I like Tyranitar's design. The 4x weakness to fighting, it's a little bit of a downside, and it's also weak to ground, which is another common typing. It's very good for Sandstorm teams, because it can just whip one up when it's thrown out. I hate that Mega Tyranitar had Sandstream as its ability as well, but, it's a good ability for it because it boosts its special defense since it's a rock-type Pokemon. It's Kaiju inspired, so it's based off of monsters like Godzilla and stuff like that, which is really neat. Honestly, I would give it probably right above Entei. It's got a decent move pool. It's got access to Dragon Dance and stuff like that.
It go rar.
So yeah, I would put it right above Entei.
My big problem with it, and why I'm going to put it right behind Entei, is because, as you said, you can only find Larvitar at Mount Silver, and you need to beat all the Kanto gyms to get to Mount Silver. Which means not only you have to beat the game once, you gotta essentially beat the game twice before you get even access to its pre-evolution, and then you
At
gotta
least in
level,
the games it was introduced in.
and then you gotta level that shit up so many levels that it's like not worth getting it in the original games. But it's a great mon, and when you can get Larvitar semi early-ish, it's totally worth it that you have it on your team.
Yeah.
Lugia. It's bulky as fuck. I hate battling it, which means it's good. I'll put it mid A, right in front of Politoed. Politoed.
Yeah.
It's got multi-scale, which is fucking annoying. It's also really bulky and has great attack stats. So, it's an A tier Pokemon through and through.
Yeah. No, I'd probably put it about there as well. I love its design. Pokemon 2000 is probably my favorite Pokemon movie, and Lugia has a big part of that movie. I
Big
do
parts.
not like exploring the Whirl Islands to catch it in any of the Johto games. It's one of the reasons why most of the time I'll play Heart Gold or regular Gold, because it's just easier to do the 10 Tower than it is for Whirl Islands when it comes to me personally. I never I mean, I get it. In Pokemon 2000, it lived underwater and it was the beast of the sea and all that, but I never understood why people thought this should have been water flying. I think that Psychic Flying is a great type for Lugia. And the fact that it is supposed to be in charge of the Cantonian birds in the same way that Ho-Oh is in charge of the legendary beast, I think that's a neat bit of lore.
Yeah, the Trio Master.
Yep.
Speaking of Trio Master, we got Ho-Oh.
All right. Ho-Oh is a great physical attacker. It's got decent bulk. It's got Regenerator as an ability. Fire Flying is not the best typing because the 4x weakness to rocks and all that.
You take that back.
I'd put it right below Lugia. Honestly, it's a great Pokemon, great design, decent lore. It's useful in battle, but if it's not wearing the heavy-duty boots, Stealth Rocks is a big problem for it, and hazards are still kind of a thing that people do. At least in singles, I don't know how they are in doubles.
Well, I personally would put this at the top of S tier, so it's gonna be bottom of S tier. Just simply because it's got a really good design. I love its design. I love how it's like a rainbow kind of thing. Also in battle, it's really strong. It blows Moltres and Charizard out of the water in terms of fire fighting types. It is 4x weak to rock, but at the same time, it's a Ho-Oh, so it's got Sacred Fire, and it gives you an item that can revive your mons. So,
all right. But speaking of Sacred Fire, that is supposed to have a 50% chance to burn. But anytime I use that on Showdown, it never burns anyone, but I get burned by it all the time.
Yes, because everybody hates you, Inu. Finally, Celebi.
I mean, it's your turn to start.
Yeah, okay. Bottom of A. It's got 100 base hits around the board. It's 4 times weak to Bug. But it also inspired the name of the Primo Pokemon News website. So can't judge it too low, man, because Joe's gonna be mad. No, I'm kidding. He doesn't give a shit.
All right. I think Celebi has a solid design. I love Pokemon Forever. It was a fun, cute movie. It's got decent moves and all that. My least favorite thing about Celebi is the fact that the event to catch it in the Ilex Forest from the original Gold, Silver, and Crystal was never introduced in America, so we weren't able to get it in the games it was introduced in. But aside from that, it's a pretty solid Pokemon. Natural Cure, so whenever it swaps out, it loses its status condition. That's fairly decent. It's an easy way to get rid of being poisoned or paralyzed.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd say, a high A. I mean, low A, high B is where I would put it. So it's good where it is.
All right.
That's right, Lydian. Fuck you. You're the only one in D tier, bitch. And if you guys enjoyed and you want to see what the Gen 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then maybe 9 too, if we remember to do that, subscribe, like, and comment which Mon you think we placed in the wrong place, or if you would place them on in a different area. Also,
If you think that Unknown deserves to be S tier, please leave a 4-paragraph essay explaining why, because I really won't need to dive deep into why it should be an S tier Pokemon.
also, subscribe, you bitches. Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao, Garden.